Yins, guys. Thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. My name is Josh. Today is July 9th. The Royals locked up the series last night with a walk-off base hit. The Bucs have a chance to avoid the sweep tonight with Falter taking the mound.
Dang it, Bobby.
I'm bummed out. Yeah.
Now, hold on a second. Before we get bummed out, before we do that, I want to start with following up from yesterday's show on a little bit of a positive note, because Oneil Cruz is going to participate in the Home Run Derby. And on yesterday's show, I talked about how good it would be if he got an opportunity to do this, and obviously took the opportunity because of what this could do for him moving forward. And I absolutely love this. I'm not going to go into detail about it today. I talked about it yesterday. If you didn't watch yesterday's show or listen to yesterday's show, go back and listen to it and listen to. I talk at length after I talk about the game about some of the frustrations of Oneil Cruz that we all have, but the positivity and the negative and everything around Oneil Cruz, and how sometimes it can just be frustrating to see the yin and the yang, or the Jekyll and Hyde, whatever you want to call it. And I talk about the Home Run Derby and what that opportunity could do for him. And then we talk extension and other things too, but go back and catch yesterday's show to hear my thoughts on that. But now it's just total focus on the Home Run Derby. There are times that I would be concerned about what a Home Run Derby does to a dude, but I think this is the reversal for him. And like I said, the other positives are on yesterday's show, but in years past, you were always worried about the swing, right? That's just not the case anymore. Like, first off, this guy's not going to have to do anything for sure, but a lot of players today, they're already swinging for launch angle all the time. So I'm not concerned with what the swing does to a player. He's not going to change his swing. He's already swinging with launch angle in mind. Nothing has to change as far as that goes. The thing I'm worried about with this current format of the Home Run Derby is fatigue. Players come away from the Derby worn out. It's going for speed. They're still trying to hit home runs, so it's big time effort over and over and over and over again. Something that is not necessarily common. Like, even in BP, you take your time, and they're not all home run swings. And so I think this, I went to the 2019 Home Run Derby. I think it was the one when it was in Cleveland. And I'm pretty sure Vlad hit 90 home runs that year. It was something crazy. And so, that's what I'm most concerned about is fatigue. That they do come out. I don't know that that's the case. Jake said on Sunday, he can just flick it 400 feet. So maybe this doesn't take a whole lot out of him. However, if he's trying to put on a show and he's trying to hit some deep bombs, it is the only thing I would be concerned about. And quite frankly, if you listen to yesterday's show, or if you haven't and you go back and listen to it, those things, to me, I think outweigh that. You know what I mean? And he's one of those non-all-star guys. So he doesn't have to play Tuesday as well as do the Home Run Derby Monday. So maybe that helps too. I'm not really sure. Yoenis Cespedes, Giancarlo Stanton, and Peter Alonso have all won the Home Run Derby in years that they weren't an all-star. So could Oneil Cruz be the next? Could he be the first Pirate to win the Home Run Derby? That's what we'd all like to see. We know it's going to be a show. I like his comments about how it was his family that really wants to see him and everything like that. But anyway, go listen to yesterday's show. If you haven't, you'll hear the main reason for why I think it'll be really good for Oneil Cruz. All right, so a better game to watch tonight than the night before. The Pirates battled. They came back, right? They were down. They came back and tied it. They took the lead. They lost the lead. They came back and tied it. It was a little more of a battle here. Going into the 8th inning, you know what I mean, or going into the 9th inning rather. They had more hits. They had the same amount of runs. It felt like it was a better game, a better baseball game anyway. And, the Pirates just missed opportunities. 0 for 6 runners in scoring position. They missed opportunities on offense. But they were battling. And listen, again, I'm going to be critical. Again, let me take a drink here. I'm going to be critical again of Bryan Reynolds. Bases loaded, 1 out. If not for the hustle, which is fine, we wouldn't even have tied it. But he basically hits a ground ball double play that he beats out at first. And you got Bobby Witt at short. That could have been a double play, and we wouldn't even have had to go into the bottom of the 9th. But instead, bases loaded, 1 out. We just get the 1 run in because he beat it out at first. But it just felt like that was such a big moment for Bryan Reynolds to come through, something that he hasn't done much this season, or he has, but not compared to the opportunities that he's had. He looked like he was back when he came back from his paternity leave, but now he's going the wrong way again. He has 1 hit in July so far. We were talking about Cruz, so we were talking about the impact that he could have in an offense. Oneil Cruz has still only played about 2 years in MLB. I know it's stretched over 3, but he missed the whole 2023 and really hasn't even played 2 full seasons, if you think about it. I mean, he had the full season, 87 games in 22. He had 2 games in 21, 87 games in 22. He had 9 games in 23, I think. Yeah, 9 games. And then he had a full season last year where he was, for half the season, still recovering from the broken leg. We saw the stolen bases didn't even pick up till the second half of last year. The speed really wasn't back until the second half last year. And now we're looking at another full season, and he's going through it. I mean, he hit the home run last night, but he's going through it a little bit. But either way, this wasn't about him. If you want to point fingers in this offense, I think it all starts with Reynolds. And I imagine he'd be the first one to tell you this. I've heard comments lately about Reynolds, and I'm not buying the idea that this guy is just an average player. I'm not buying that. Recency bias is making us remember the past a little bit weird. Bryan Reynolds has been a top 10 outfielder in his time. That time should not be over right now. This guy's not old. This guy's not washed, right? This is a guy very much still in his prime and should be performing better than what we've seen right now. This is why I can't let Reynolds off the hook of responsibility here. He needs to be the leader of this offense. Eventually, yes, Oneil Cruz is going to take that over. But even then, Cruz is not the model of consistency that Bryan Reynolds has been when he's right. We need that back from Bryan Reynolds. The consistency that he gives a team like this is really important. And I'm all the way out on pretending like Bryan Reynolds is not an impact player. He very much is, or should be, rather. As a player, right? As a player, he's very good. And I think that we're selling that a little bit short because we're watching him struggle this season. But this is bad. We need that back from Reynolds. He needs to have a big second half here coming out of the All-Star break. Maybe have a nice game tonight and series in Minnesota be heading into the All-Star break or something. But this is a guy who should definitely be performing better than he has been. A lot of this season is on the shoulder of Reynolds. And that's mostly because they didn't do enough last offseason to help him out, right?
Dang it, Bobby.
And he's not answered the call. A lot of work needs done to get this guy going. It just seems like it's not happening for him. And this isn't a hitting coach thing either. If that's maybe running through your head, like, this isn't a hitting coach thing. Reynolds doesn't necessarily have to listen to the hitting coach. I mean, he's on a long-term contract. He can bring in whoever he wants. I don't know. I just don't see that as the problem. I've said this before on our shows. I've said this before. I've called him out in this way before, and I think a lot of people are letting him off the hook because they're allowing themselves to believe that this guy is not an all-star caliber player, that this guy is not one of the league's better hitters. And you're letting yourself believe that. And, I can't. This guy should have came into this year with 30 bombs on his mind. He's had 27. He's had 24. I think both of those numbers a couple times. And I think he could have approached 30 this season, but it just has been so bad. But I can't let him off the hook. I think he's too good to be playing like this, and it is hurting this team. And like I said, that's the fact that it's hurting this team is not all his fault. That's roster construction. But he's there now, and there's nobody else to pick him up. I mean, there are, right? Cruz could do better and pick him up. Nick Gonzalez has been playing pretty well this year, but he's just not I don't see Nick Gonzalez as a guy who's going to carry the way that Bryan Reynolds could. So, and I just don't see the other guys in this lineup capable of doing that. Mitch Keller, another quality start. 6 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. If he is going to be traded, he's doing a lot to make sure that a good return should be possible coming back to Pittsburgh. He's pitched very well. He said after the game, he basically missed 2 pitches. And if he could have those back, the game is different. I'm still over here saying if the Pirates would have just scored 4, we'd be talking about a different story. If the Pirates would have scored 4, then Santana doesn't come out to the 9th for a second inning. Instead, they flip it to Bednar, close it out. Jack Sawinski's return to the Pirates did not necessarily go well. 0 for 4, a couple strikeouts. He didn't change his number like Jake said Sunday. If he's going to come back, he should change his number. He did not. And so, we saw what we saw. I think there was one swing where he really just missed a ball, but he's been hot in AAA, and we know how Jack Sawinski is with hot streaks, and let's hope that it translates and he gets a little bit of run of play here and maybe shows up. He did, however, make a couple real nice plays in right field in this game. I think 2 in particular that I'm not sure Bryan Reynolds makes. So there is that. We know that he's above average outfielder with an above average arm. Not much above average. I'm not sitting here saying he's a Gold Glover by any stretch, but he is above average by the metrics. And so that's usually, better than what we get from Bryan Reynolds. However, I imagine Bryan Reynolds is right back out there tomorrow. Henry Davis hit a double in this game. Really weird decision to try to steal third off Salvador Perez. I don't understand. I won't be overcritical of being aggressive when you're trying to get out of the L column. But that seemed like a wild attempt on that one. Not really a fan of that one. I mentioned Nick Gonzalez. He hit a home run in this game as well. 0 for 6 runners in scoring position. I think I mentioned that at the top of the show. With a loss tonight, they would completely erase the 6-game winning streak at home. Completely erase the good vibes if they dropped 6 in a row on the road right after it. This team could not be more 500 than what they are. And they're not even 500 because of the start that they've had. Bailey Falter takes the mound tonight to try to avoid that 6th straight loss. Unfortunately, he does so against Chris Bubic, and Bubic has been fantastic this season. 2.36 ERA, 107 strikeouts. It's another lefty, so we likely won't see some of our lefties in this game. I don't know who they'll end up playing if Cruz gets a game, but Jack's not in. That would make sense. You're going to have Kutch back in, Reynolds and Wright, so that would make sense. Who knows what they do with Horwitz? The thing is his splits are pretty even. He does a good job against right-handed pitching. There's not a clear advantage here to throw the righty out there other than the hitters themselves. As far as the pitcher, as far as Bubic goes, it really doesn't matter. So, I don't know. Call me negative coming off of a five straight duds, but I don't see how this offense puts up enough runs off Bubic to overcome Falter's 4.28 road ERA. I hate to be that way, but baseball is baseball, and that's why they play the games. Let's hope for a W tonight, heading into a day off tomorrow. Judging by Twitter, we could all use a day off tomorrow. I'm going to keep plugging this. We need subscribers over on our YouTube page. If you're not watching on YouTube, but you have a YouTube account, consider heading over there just to click subscribe for us to help us out. You can keep up with us on your podcast app, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, click down below. If you are already subscribed and you enjoy the show, either on audio or video, tell your friends about it. I know you don't want to admit publicly that you're watching this team right now and following up with podcasts, but it would be a lot of help, and we would appreciate it. We're trying to get those subscriber counts up over on the YouTube page, so we'd appreciate your help with that. Back at it again tomorrow. Let's hope for a win tonight. Someone, please stop the bleeding.
Enough! You want my head to explode?
Let's go, Bucs.
Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Subscribing to your platform of choice is the best way to be notified for new episodes. And now, new episodes every weekday. Remember, live shows with my dad and Uncle Jake are Sundays at 9 p.m. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and join them in the live chat every Sunday. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs.